A demagogue is a leader who rises by stirring up the emotions of the people. They often use fear. They often use anger. They often use prejudice to gain power. Instead of appealing to reason and careful thought, a demagogue speaks directly to the gut. They present complex problems in simple terms, offering easy solutions that are often unrealistic or harmful. This type of leader promises to be the voice of the forgotten, the champion of the common person, against a corrupt or uncaring elite. The promises are grand, the language is strong. The effect can be electrifying for those who feel unheard. The famous scientist Stephen Hawking once declined to comment on a political leader. He is a demagogue that appears to appeal to the lowest common denominator. This observation gets to the heart of the matter. The demagogue's strategy is not to elevate public discourse or encourage citizens to grapple with difficult truths. Instead, the goal is to find the most basic, shared anxieties and amplify them. This approach bypasses the slow, often frustrating process of democratic debate. It replaces it with the instant gratification of shared outrage and the promise of a powerful savior. The appeal is deeply human. When people are anxious about their future, their finances, their nation's identity, they become more receptive to a leader who seems to understand their pain. The demagogue validates these fears, telling people they are right to be angry and that their problems are not their fault. This message is powerful because it offers comfort and a clear target for blame. It creates a sense of belonging and solidarity among supporters who feel they are part of a righteous movement to reclaim their country and their dignity. This is not a new phenomenon. It is a recurring pattern throughout human history. The tools and the stage have changed, from the open forums of ancient Athens to the global reach of social media today. Yet, the fundamental script remains remarkably consistent. A charismatic figure emerges, claims to speak for the real people, identifies enemies inside the nation, identifies enemies outside the nation, and promises to restore a lost greatness. Understanding this playbook is crucial, not to condemn or despair, but to recognize the signs and protect the foundations of a free and open society. In our modern world, we can identify several leaders described as demagogues by critics. In the United States, Donald Trump's presidency was labeled this way: his US versus them rhetoric attacks on the press, attacks on the judiciary. Across the Atlantic, Viktor Orban consolidated power, presenting himself as defender of Christian Europe, against immigrants, against liberal values. In Brazil, Jair Bolsonaro gained a following: aggressive nationalism, disdain for democratic norms, disdain for environmental experts. These leaders share a common populist style. Other contemporary examples abound. Marine Le Pen in France built her career on staunch nationalism, targeting immigrants, targeting the European Union. In India, critics point to Narendra Modi using Hindu nationalism and creating a divide with the Muslim minority. The rise isn't confined to one region or ideology. It's driven by economic insecurity, cultural displacement, disillusionment with mainstream politics, which these leaders channel. History gives starker examples. Julius Caesar used military victories and populist appeal to bypass the Senate and seize power. In ancient Athens, Cleon rose through aggressive speeches. He was known for a loud voice, whipping the assembly into a frenzy, favoring emotion over deliberation. The 20th century provides chilling case studies. Adolf Hitler used scapegoating the big lie, a cult of personality, to dismantle democracy and start a world war. Senator Joseph McCarthy spread fear of communism, making baseless accusations that ruined lives and created paranoia. Hui Long amassed power with Share Our Wealth, promising radical redistribution and operating as a virtual dictator in his state. The cornerstone of the demagogue's playbook is the creation of a powerful US versus them narrative. This tactic is devastatingly effective. It simplifies the world into a conflict between two opposing groups: the virtuous, hardworking us, the corrupt, dangerous them. The US is always the demagogue's audience, the real people of the nation who have been wronged and forgotten, portrayed as the authentic heart of the country, embodying its true values and traditions. The leader positions himself not just as their representative, but as their sole defender and embodiment. The identity of them is flexible but always specific. Racial minority, ethnic minority, religious minority who are blamed for social problems or for supposedly taking jobs and resources, immigrants, depicted as a threat to the nation's culture and security, politicians, government officials, academics, journalists, labeled as the establishment or the deep state, accused of being corrupt, accused of being out of touch, accused of working against the interests of the common person. This creates a powerful sense of grievance and unity among supporters. This division serves a crucial purpose. It channels complex anxieties into a single source of blame. Economic anxieties, social anxieties, cultural anxieties. Instead of grappling with multifaceted causes, it is far easier to point a finger at a specific group. This provides a target for anger and frustration, giving people a sense of clarity and righteous purpose. The demagogue becomes the hero in this story, the only one brave enough to stand up to enemies undermining the nation. The second key tactic in the demagogue's arsenal is the deliberate prioritization of emotion over reason. A demagogue's speech is not designed to inform or to persuade through logical argument. It is crafted to provoke a powerful emotional response. The primary emotions leveraged are fear, anger, a sense of wounded pride. The language is often simple, direct, repetitive, using short, punchy sentences that are easy to remember and chant. Rallies and public appearances are carefully staged to create a spectacle, fostering a sense of collective energy and excitement that can feel intoxicating to participants. Fear is perhaps the most potent tool. The demagogue paints a picture of a nation in crisis, on the brink of disaster. They warn of imminent threats, whether from foreign invaders, internal saboteurs, or the erosion of traditional values. This constant sense of emergency makes people feel insecure and anxious, creating a desperate desire for a strong leader who can protect them. When people are afraid, their capacity for critical thinking diminishes. They are more likely to accept simple, decisive solutions and to grant a leader extraordinary powers to deal with the perceived threat. Anger is the fuel that drives the movement forward. The demagogue validates and amplifies the public's frustrations, directing their rage toward the designated enemies. Insults, mockery. Aggressive language are common, serving to dehumanize opponents and make them seem unworthy of respect or consideration. This performance of anger resonates with those who feel they have been ignored or disrespected by the political establishment. It feels authentic and cathartic, a welcome departure from the carefully polished language of traditional politicians. The leader's anger becomes their followers' anger. This appeal to emotion actively discourages rational analysis and fact-based debate. Complex issues are brushed aside as the concerns of out-of-touch elites and so-called experts. The demagogue champions common sense and gut instinct as superior guides to policy and truth. Supporters are encouraged to trust their feelings and to dismiss any information that contradicts the leader's narrative as fake news or propaganda. In this environment, facts become irrelevant. The only thing that matters is loyalty to the leader and the emotional truth of the movement he represents. A third, and perhaps the most dangerous tactic, is the systematic attack on the institutions that underpin a democratic society. Demagogues know their power is limited by checks and balances, so they work to discredit and weaken any institution that can hold them accountable. Courts, a free and independent press, the electoral system, the nonpartisan civil service. The goal: make the leader the only source of truth and authority, accountable to no one but the people they claim to represent. The media is often the first and most frequent target, attacking journalists and news organizations as enemies of the people, labeling them purveyors of fake news, to destroy public trust in independent information. This creates an echo chamber of leader-only information. When the public can't agree on basic facts, holding leaders accountable becomes impossible. The leader is then free to create their own reality. The judiciary and law enforcement are targeted if they stand in the leader's way. Judges who rule against the leader are denounced as biased, denounced as political, denounced as illegitimate. Law enforcement agencies are accused of conspiracy. Intelligence services likewise. These attacks erode respect for the rule of law. The demagogue instead says the law should serve their agenda. Finally, the electoral process is called into question. Unsubstantiated claims of widespread voter fraud, especially when a loss is anticipated, preemptively delegitimize unfavorable results. Convincing supporters the system is rigged lays groundwork for refusing defeat and challenging the peaceful transfer of power. This directly assaults democracy's fundamental mechanism, threatening to replace the ballot box with mob rule or political force. Section 8. The grave dangers when the rules no longer apply. The rise of a demagogue poses a profound existential threat to a democratic society. The most immediate danger: erosion of democratic norms and institutions. The leader attacks the press. The leader attacks the courts. The leader attacks the electoral system. Public trust in these pillars decays. Checks and balances are weakened or dismantled. Democratic backsliding follows. The country keeps the outward appearance of democracy. Elections are still held, but real power concentrates in one leader and their party. This erosion breeds severe political instability. Many come to believe the system is rigged. Political opponents are seen as illegitimate enemies. Political violence becomes more likely. Elections turn into flashpoints for conflict. A leader who won't accept defeat can incite followers to protest, to riot, to try to overturn results by force. That can spiral into civil unrest, a coup, or a breakdown of the state. On the world stage, anti-intellectual diplomacy is dangerous. Rejecting experts, diplomats, and intelligence agencies leads to erratic policy. Experts, diplomats, intelligence agencies. This alienates long-standing allies. It emboldens adversaries. Trade relationships are jeopardized. Security alliances are jeopardized. International cooperation is jeopardized. Global problems like climate change suffer. Pandemics and global health cooperation suffer. The long-term cost, degradation of civic culture. Society becomes more polarized, more distrustful, more angry. The assumption of good faith is lost. Politics becomes a zero-sum battle. Rebuilding trust, civility, and a shared sense of reality can take generations. Trust, civility, shared sense of reality. The damage often outlasts a demagogue, leaving a fractured, wounded nation. Section 9. The path of resistance, guarding our democracy. The conclusion is not that democracy is doomed, but that it requires constant and vigilant defense. Resisting demagoguery does not require grand, heroic gestures, but rather a collective commitment to the principles and practices of a free society. The first and most powerful tool is a dedication to facts and critical thinking. Citizens must actively seek out reliable information from a variety of sources, be skeptical of emotionally charged claims, and develop the habit of checking facts before sharing them. Supporting a financially viable press is essential to this effort. Supporting an independent press is essential to this effort. Supporting an ethical press is essential to this effort. Second, we must defend our democratic institutions, even when we are unhappy with their decisions. Respecting the role of an independent judiciary, upholding the integrity of our elections, protecting the rights of a free press. When a leader attacks these pillars, citizens, civil society organizations, other political leaders, including those in the leader's own party, must speak out. These institutions are the guardrails of democracy. Without them, the vehicle of state can easily crash. Third, resistance is built through calm and courageous civic engagement. This includes the fundamental act of voting in every election, not just the national ones. Participating in peaceful protests, contacting elected officials, volunteering in the community, running for local office. These actions reinforce the idea that power ultimately resides with the people and that a healthy democracy is an active, participatory one. It is harder for a demagogue to claim they are the sole voice of the people when the people themselves are actively and constructively speaking up. Finally, we must resist the temptation to mirror the demagogue's tactics, answering anger with more anger, answering division with more division. The most effective antidote is to rebuild the connective tissue of society, civil discourse, a willingness to listen to those with whom we disagree, a search for common ground. It is a slow, difficult, and often frustrating process, but democracy is not a spectator sport. It is a daily practice. The cost of silence and inaction is far too high, for when we allow fear and division to triumph over reason and unity, we risk losing the very foundation of our freedom.